Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining this video, and if you're new, you're welcome. In this video, we're designing this car price dashboard from scratch using parameters as our slicers. So let's just walk ourselves around this dashboard and see how it works. Clicking on brand, we can see the price versus mileage by brand. And we can also see the price versus mileage by transmission type and by fuel type. So we can see that electric vehicles have the highest price, followed by hybrid vehicles, followed by diesel vehicles, followed by petrol vehicles. And the mileage drops on hybrid vehicles, but it didn't still reduce the price. So mileage might not affect the price of hybrid vehicle, but it does affect electric, diesel, and petrol vehicles. So this is a very interactive dashboard. You can see that automatic vehicles have the least mileage per hour, and they have the highest pricing, which means that mileage doesn't affect automatic vehicles, doesn't affect the pricing of automatic vehicles, just like manual or semi-automatic vehicles will be affected by mileage. The color ash is for price, while the black is for owner count. So to start building this dashboard, we have to open a new workbook entirely, a new blank report. So go to File, click on Blank Report, get our data sets. So to get our data sets, we can use Cargo. So just get them together. I'll also add the data sets to the description box, just in case you don't have access to Cargo or something. So just search for Cargo. This is Cargo is a website where you can get thousands upon thousands of data sets, workbooks, and several things, machine learning projects and people's projects. You can also use it as something like where you can post your work or your data engineering work per se. So we're just going to search for car price data sets. So it's already showing this. The first thing that pops up when you search for car price data set is what we are using for this analysis, and it's providing 10,000 vehicle data and the features that can actually influence car price. Like in the beginning of the video, we could see different metrics that we can use to determine the kind of prices that cars have depending on their model and their brands, right? So this is what we have from year to year and so on. So you can look at the preview of the data sets here, and when you want to download, you come down to this download and click on download. It's going to bring out this dialog box, and you can just click on download data sets, the zip file. It's going to tell you to register. Just because I have registered and I have downloaded the data set, I just came here to show you what you're going to do. You need to register. You can either register with Google, email, Facebook, or Yahoo, whatever you think deems fit for you to actually download with. And then once you register, it automatically downloads. Right, so let's get back into our dashboard. So I've downloaded the data set. Now assume that you have to just open from text or CSV file the data set. So I just double click on it, and then it's going to load and ask me if data, or I want to transform the data, because I'm trying to remove duplicates, and it's a direct data set from Cargo. Most times they're always pre-processed. We just need to cross-check with duplicates. Click on the first column. Make sure you clicked on the first column and then Control A. So it clicks on all columns, and then you click on remove duplicates. If you just directly remove duplicates for just brand column, this is first column, it's only remove duplicates for this column, and then you have just like the unique values of just brand column. So it's very important to pay attention to that detail. And after removing duplicate, just click on close and apply, because data sets from Calc are usually like pre-cleaned, they're already like prepared before you access them, except you're working with like real life data sets where it is kind of dirty, or you realize that this data set is not actually clean enough. You can clean with Power BI, you can also clean with Excel, any tool you like. And if you want me to drop a video on data cleaning with Power BI, you can just drop a comment and I will make a video for that. Our data set has been imported successfully. We'll just click on open the drop down and we can see the columns that we have. These are what we're working with. And next, we're changing the background, the canvas setting, and so on. So from 16 by 9, we're going to change to custom. And I'll change the height of our dashboard to 1020. So we have enough space, enough height. And then 1680 for the width. So it is wide enough to contain everything we're doing with the dashboard. And then we're changing the background into this color, white, 10% darker. So I'm going to reduce the transparency to 0. And then we have this. See, this makes a lot of sense already, and we're just starting up, right? So I'm adding a rectangle box, a shape, to separate the title from the main dashboard. And I can also bring the rectangle to the top, something around this, in the sense that I am trying to differentiate the title page, or the title, this title part, from the normal visuals. So something like this. And I'm going to open this to format the shape. So we're going to change the color, the style from, let me change the style from blue to something like this. So you can see it looks different from the main. And then we're turning off borders because we do not need borders. Need to also send the shape to the back so that it doesn't overlap when we start to add our title. So we can easily come to insert and insert a text box for our title. First, we change the font, something like this, and then we increase the font, because when you're trying to design a dashboard, the first thing that people actually want to see is your title. They want to know what the dashboard is about. They want to see what this dashboard presents to them. So this is what you're showing. It's meant to be car price dashboard, but I'm using overview because we're just giving an overview of what's like the kind of cars, recommendations you would need if you're trying to go into the car business, car sales business. So we're changing the background on that effect, turning off backgrounds because we already have a background, right? And then this makes a whole lot of sense already. We're just adding slicers next. So a typical dashboard I do, after the title, we need slicers to actually give drill down, filter whatever we want to filter. So the first we're adding is the brand title, the brand slicer, and I've converted it to a slicer now. I'm just going to change. I don't want it to be a vertical list. I want it to be a drop down. And this is like a drop down already. So just drag to the side of the dashboard. We're going to have something like this, something really small. We're bringing like about 3 or 4 drop downs actually. So we need to make sure that they are not disturbing any visual. They're not disturbing our title, they're not disturbing anything. All right. And I think this can actually come out as, as a white font because we're not using, let's see how it works. I think this makes sense. So for our brand, we're using a white background and we need to make sure that it is not looking weird or overlapping or anything. So we'll increase the font of the slicer header, change from this font. If you watch my video well now, you know that I don't really like that font, especially for my values on my headers. So just increase the font, something around this, and then for the values as well, increase the font. So we have something like this to make sure it is on bold. Yeah, so the color should be black. We're just going to copy this and paste, then give a little distance, then copy and paste again, give space in between, something like this. And we can change the background actually into the background of the normal this background. So let's just see how it works. Something like this. Then we would also like change this one and also change the value to year. And then for this, we also change the value from brand to model. So we're trying to look for the models that we're looking for. We can easily, use the drop down here. Just format painter on this. So next we are adding our KPIs. When building a dashboard, the most important things to actually track, to actually notice, to actually pay attention to is your KPIs, because this is the things that you're actually trying to pass to your stakeholders. So just add a card, and first we're adding price, and this is like the sum of price which passes no message. So we have to change it to the average. So we know that per car, the average price is $8,85,000 or whatever currency you need to add. But we need to add a currency because it is a price value. It should have a currency, and dollar sign is like the currency that is actually like known among everyone. So just edit the call out value, and we're going to add icons to these cards. So we just add price icons and so on. And I've actually made a video teaching how to add icons to our visuals, but I'll just show you guys here so you guys don't have to be confused as to what I did. So we'll change the background to. So the thing is, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that price has its own color, mileage has its own color because of our dashboard, because of the charts we're adding. So we're trying to create a picture because it is price. We need to like make sure that anyone that sees this sees the average price for cars is actually this amount. So makes it easier to actually like understand by stakeholders. So we're using, let's use this color, and then for the call out value, we need to make sure people know that this is the average car price, right? So just type in average car price, and then as you can see, you can't see the labeling, so people are not seeing what you're doing. So you need to like edit that and change the call out value. Remember, we're changing the font into something that is easily readable, and we're making is already bold. So Era Black font is actually usually bold, and we're changing the color to white because that's the trend we've been using, right? And for this one also, we change to white and make it bold enough. So the value decimal places should be reduced to 0. So this is what we have. Average car price $9K. We can also change those fonts if it looks so, so shouty or something. Change to this. This looks calmer than the first that we used. And then Ctrl C, Ctrl V, then move. We are going to make sure that there is enough space for us to actually move. So we are creating 5 KPIs, and we'll just Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V, and then arrange. Then we start to format. It's very important to pay attention. I say this every time in my videos. Pay attention to the things that you're copying and pasting. You have to make sure that when you're copying and pasting, you're changing the values so that you're not confused or lost. So for the properties, we need to make sure that they are of the same height and the same width. Makes sense. And there is alignment with our dashboard with the values there. So for this, we are good to go. Then the next KPI we are adding is the car brand. So on selecting this, and we're selecting brand. So picking the count of the brands, not the first brand or anything. So count distinct brand. So we have the count of brands, and then we change the color of value to car brands, something around this. Car brands, so they know that there are just 10 car brands. And remember that it's just the price that has this color. So we're changing the color of the background to white. So the values must change as well, and the category label. So we're selecting black, and for the category label, we're also selecting black. So the property, we need to make sure that the width and height from this is the same as this. So it's meant to be 154, 154, and 246, and 246. Just give it a lot of space. We would change this as well. Make sure we're changing the properties to 148 and 246. So 148 and 246, and mileage color for this dashboard is actually black. So we're changing from price to mileage, and we're also changing the background. So mileage is showing us the sum, and we're working with average for this data set, and mileage is measured in miles per gallon. So we're just going to put a bracket to give a labeling to what we're doing, that it is mile mpg, and then make sure the background color is black. When we start to add our visuals, you guys will actually understand why I'm laying emphasis on this, and make sure that our properties are changed, and then the callouts, the category label is actually changed as well. So this is what we want. Then we make sure that they are all on the same line, and working with that, we just arrange, drag these, make sure they are on the same. Why are they not on the same line? See that we need to pay attention to that. So the height here is 154. The height here is 154 as well. So we have similar heights for these two. And yeah, we need to change the height to 154, because we want all our KPIs to have the same height and the same width to promote consistency. So you can see that everything is now becoming the same. Then this one, we're also changing to 154 and 246. 154,246. So just drag, make sure that we are on the same page, and change from price to model, and we want the count of our model so not the first, so count the extinct model, and we're changing to car models. Yeah. And then it doesn't have a particular color, so we're using white for that background. And also change the background, we need to change the category label and the callout value to black. So the callout value, the category label is also in black now, and this is what we have here. So lastly, for the last KPI, we're using the total owners of each car, so that when we drill down, or when we use a slicer, we know how many people actually use this particular brand. So we're changing this to total owner count. Total owner counts, or total owners instead of owner counts. Total owners. So it's meant to be in white as well. So just like format painter from this on this. So we have something this cool. We'll just make sure that the properties are also aligned. So you can use this to confirm it's meant to be 154 and 246. So we'll just change 154 and 246. We're just going to make sure that they're all aligned. We already have what we're doing, so just make sure they're all aligned in the same manner. So I think there is more space on this end, so just make sure that there is no excess space, no KPI is actually like overlapping or anything. So just work with this, and I think we need to drag this a little bit, and we already have our KPIs looking really great already. I personally want this background to be in black. See how it looks with if we change to black. So I think this makes sense actually. So this actually looks way better. So we're working with car price overview, and then I'm just going to teach you guys how to add icons to your visuals. So I got this updates using Flat Icons. Flat Icon is a website where you can actually, download thousands of icons, and then you just search according to your KPI. So for mileage, I search for mileage and I have these ones. So just right click, and then you can save image directly. And then for car price, you can always use price. And let's just use this kind of thing for an example. You see that we have a lot. Then you can change the color. For our car price, we have the background as hash. So we would not want to use something that has a background of hash again, because it's going to, contradict. So you can just find something around those colors. If we use this, it's going to contradict, obviously. So we can just, keep searching. Like the more you search, the more you find. You can use this. I like this save images. But in case you're not using Microsoft Edge that can easily download price icon or anything, you can just, I have a folder for them. I have a number of icons I have here. So this is price icon, and then I'll just save it under my icon folder. And if you cannot do that, you can always just click on it, open this thing, and then there are options to save, but they tell you to contribute to the owner of the stuff. You don't have to pay for it. And then if you're trying to look for car models, just search for car models, and then it brings out options. If you want to change the color, since car model, or for mileage now, car model, now you can use something around this. Just play around, pick any icon of your choice. But for car mileage, for mileage, you have to, it has a black background, so you have to find something around white. Then you can come to this filter and filter for colors. Then it will ask for what color you want. Just click on white. You're going to see colors that you can actually like download, and that's just how I got my icons. So moving on, let's just get into building our visuals or adding icons. So go down to insert and click on image. So clicking on image, we open our icon folder, and for price, we double click on it. You can see that it's showing us the price icon already. So you make it little, very little, because we don't want it to look like that is our KPI. It's just an icon to beautify our dashboard. So just put a little size. There is car, sports car. So this is the icon I actually used. Then we've reduced the size, make it small enough so that it fits in just like the first icon, and it's not really overlapping. It's not passing any message. It's not clickable. It's just to make sure that you're trying to beautify your dashboard and you're trying to give a representation of what you're working with. Then for mileage, click on image again. So this is the icon that I actually used for mileage, and then it's actually showing the miles that can go. So just add it to the visual. I think it's actually above. So just make sure that it is not overlapping anything, and then it is not distracting your KPI. So for car models, we'd also can add this icon for owners. This icon should actually fit in for owners because showing people. So just use your discretion to actually find the right icons to use whenever you're trying to design a dashboard, and don't let it overlap. Just let it see on the side, on the top, one corner that nobody would actually think it is interactive. So for car model, I use this for our car model icon. Although you can also get more icons from the website that I just showed you guys, but you can also use this. This is what I used. And I don't want you guys to outrightly copy what I'm doing. I want you guys to, explore your own methods to get better at what you're doing, exploring. So you can see that we already have something that looks really cool already. Our parameters. So this is the deal for today. Under modeling, we are going to click on new parameter. So there is a parameter for numeric values. So this is for in case you're trying to do something else with numeric values. For instance, this is what we're trying to do for numeric values. You're trying to arrange for range, but this is not what we're doing today. We're adding a parameter for fields, right? So under this, you just open and add for brands. You can either drag here or click on it. So we are also adding for transmission type and for fuel type. You can add as many fields or parameters you want to add, but this is just what we're doing. And then make sure you are certain that this actualizer to page works on your end. then you create. You can always name this parameter any name you like, and you can also make changes to the parameters here. This is like the tax that is used for creating a parameter, but I love to do it the automatic way instead of writing the parameters just in case of mistakes. So in case you want to change the file type, for instance, if I want to rename this file type because I know it's going to disturb my work, I'll just rename it here and then double click on it here. Then make sure I am changing, click on the parameter. You see that has changed here as well. So just click on OK. It's showing as a slicer here, but we want it to be a tile because we're going to add it to our x-axis on a particular visual. So just stay with me, guys, and just watch me do it so that you guys are also going to understand it. So this is what we're trying to do. Trying to do something that looks around this. So just going to make sure that the parameter comes below this, and then we don't need the header. We don't need everybody to know that is a parameter. We're just trying to make our dashboard look better, and we're going to add a combo chart. This is like a line and cluster chart, and our parameter will be our x-axis. So drag our parameter here. You see that's already showing the drill down sign even before you did anything. So for the column, it should be price, and for the line, it should be mileage. So we already have brand versus mileage. We drill down, it's going to show us the kind of transmission type of the vehicles versus their mileage. And if we drill down again, it's going to show us the fuel type versus the mileage. And if we also use the slicers, we can easily, transition these things. And yeah, so we need to make sure this looks okay. And then we're not working with the sum, like I said earlier, we're working with the average because the sum can be influenced by the amount of values that each brand bring, but the average price or the average value cannot be influenced because it's the sum of everything divided by the number of everything, and it makes our analysis to come out better. So as you can see, things are actually getting better as regards the metrics that we actually want to work with. The color for price is what this particular color. So we're going to change for that color so that everything aligns. And the color for mileage is black. So for lines, we'll change to black. For lines, we'll change the color to black. And we can add shaded areas if we want to make sure that our labels are visible enough. Since we already have this, we don't need to give X and Y axis or these values their labels. So another thing that we need to do is that we need to bring the title up, because this drop down, this slicer is actually affecting this visual, right? So first, we'll click on this again and make sure that our x-axis doesn't have title, because we know that it actually has title, because when we filter for this, we can always see that it's transmission, this is for brand, and so on. So we just make sure that for this, we change the value to black so that it is readable, it is easy to read, and then we increase the fonts. Then we drag up then we drag up like this, and then make sure that the values are in bold. For the title of x-axis, it's It's very important because when I click on transmission, I want everybody to know that, yes, I clicked on transmission. And then when I click on foil type, I want everybody to know that I click on foil type, right? So yeah, so for y-axis, we don't really need a title at all because, I mean, there's already a drop down, there's already a title page at the top. And then for the legend, I would rather that the red legends are below instead of top left. So change to bottom center, something like this. And then make sure that the value, the text values, and the style, it's first is like line and marker in the sense that the line represents the mileage and the circle represents the price. So we change this to black, make it bold enough for everyone to see. And then, so first we need to actually like change this wire, this x-axis and the y-axis as well, because it is very important to pay attention to these details. So we're going to turn off the title and then we want the text box to add the title above the slicer. So turn off title and make sure the values are bold enough. And then they're in black. Turning like the values into black makes it easy to read than it not being in black. And for the secondary y-axis as well, we're going to change that, so format that, turn on the values so that we're able to edit, make it bold, and turn into black. This dashboard is actually very, simple, easy, no stress in designing this dashboard. I know that for what I bring to you guys front, I don't like to stress because it must be beginner friendly. Then for grid lines, other grid lines, we turn off the grid lines because they can be distracting sometimes. So for this, just drag up and make sure that it is fitting above our visual, exactly above. There are no errors. Okay, for this one, let's just remove. And then there are no mistakes with what we're doing. So we can see that it looks as if we actually integrated that slicer into the visual so that when I click on this, it shows this. When I click on this, nobody's going to know, right? Nobody will actually know that that's what you did. Then we need to add a text box for the title. And then just make the text box price versus mileage. The units at which the mileage is actually measured. Then, okay, there's a typo here. Then we'd edit this into something around this and then make sure it is bold enough, centralized, and you guys are not ready to see what it's going to come out like. So we'll just make sure we're dragging. We can easily drag this, but I'm just very used to this method of moving my text box. So reduce the size, the length, so that it is not overlapping our. So see what we have. Nobody is actually going to know that this is what you did. What they will see is a very clean dashboard, right? So make sure that the text box is actually not overlapping what you're doing. Everything is on the same page. can even use the properties of this to measure for that one. So this one, the width is 960. Just type 960, and then we're good to go. And see that everything is on the same line, everything is on the same page. We're not confused, we're not lost. And I hope you guys are actually understanding what I'm doing. So be careful with your arrangement. You can see that little thing I tried to do just almost disrupted everything I've been doing before. Just trying to arrange, making sure that this one is already. So the next, we're adding two more visuals to this, and then that is all. Price versus total owners by brand and by year. So we can also add a parameter. When I was doing this, I added a parameter, but I didn't want the parameters to be too much and confusing. So we're just going to do this manually. So price, owner count, and then the x-axis is going to be the year. So we have, like I said, we're working with average, and this should be on the other end. This should be on the other end as well. You can see that the higher the price, the lower the owner count. Increase. So let's use the sum of owner counts for this to know the total owner counts versus the average price. Owner count actually increased. So these things are really very important when we are working with some metrics. So yearly, we don't want to know the sum of owner counts. We can see that they actually increase, but when we're using average as the metric, we're not working with brands anymore. We're not working with something that's going to distract us anymore. We're working with year. So we need to know that we're working with year. And then for the x-axis title, we're changing from year to actually by year, in the sense that we're adding just one title. And adding just one title, we need to be able to like relay our message effectively. So values should be in bold and then in black, and title should also be, the fonts should be the same. I always say that make sure your fonts are aligned. Don't do your fonts in a racket manner, in a rough manner that it starts to confuse people. Then for the values as well, make sure that it is big enough, bold enough, and we can see. So, like I said, we always have our legends, so we don't need to add y-axis title or anything anymore. So we're turning off the title, and then for the values, making sure that it is bold and it is readable. That's something that should be your mantra as a dashboard builder or a data analyst. There are a lot of things that we need to learn apart from our skills, the soft skills that we need to know, paying attention to details, so on. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything looks great. And then for the lines, first of all, let's even turn off grid lines. before we forget. So grid lines turned off, vertical turned off for horizontal as well. And the color, yeah. So the color for price is this, right? So make sure that we're changing for just price. Color for price is this, and we're adding shaded areas. Then the owner counts for lines, let's open for owner counts. Owner counts. Changing this towards black. So that means for this, it should also be black because that's the color we're using. Just trying to format painter on this. So yeah, we need to change the icon because the icon is in black. We need to find an icon for a white icon. So we'll get to that. Let's just finish with this. The legend should be on the top center because we're adding another visual underneath it. It's advised that you actually watch this dashboard first, watch this tutorial first before you try to recreate yours so that you're not confused, because you might be confused. So we're changing the circle line to line so that we know that the gray line represents price, the black line represents owner. So we're changing this to average price instead of average of price. That looked like a bot. And then this for total owners, just like we did for the KPIs. So changing this to total owners, total owners. Yeah, so this is what we have. And then for the title, we can use the title and let it look like this. Let's see if it's going to work that way. So just change the font instead of adding something different like this one. Just make sure that they all align. That's just what we need. So and it should be in capital letter, right? Just like this one. So what we are meant to actually have here is average price versus total owners, or price versus total owners, actually price versus total owners. So price versus owners, basically. So this should be in the middle, just like this. Now we're trying to recreate this. So 24, yeah, see that we already have this without even stressing. And then it's already in bold. So we can Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V this, drag down a little. Then we need to make sure that it is not actually touching the borderline. And then for this, we are turning off the title and we're changing from year to brand. So yeah, or on a normal day, typically, I would, have liked the way it was a line chart, but I prefer that it's something like this because they are alike. And then the x-axis title should be by brand, not by year anymore. So we're changing this to by brand. And but because of the okay, so we're kind of in a fix right now because of, line in between the two visuals so that they are is able to differentiate them. So this now, we're going to turn off the legend because they are the same as the legend at the top. So under visual, turn off legends, and let's see what we have. This looks great, guys. I hope you guys were able to build this dashboard because we're literally done with the dashboard. It looks really great already. So for the secondary y-axis, I'm trying to reduce the font so that it is not cutting off by the side like that. So just do that for this one as well. And we have our dashboard. Isn't this great, guys? Very simple to do. Click on transmission, click on file type. You have used parameters, and this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys try this out. I hope you guys enjoy building this dashboard as much as I did designing it. To export, we can just click on file and click on export to PDF. So we have the PDF version of our report, and you can see our beauty. Save to your downloads. And if you also want to export as a PBIX file, something that somebody can't see the amount of interactiveness, you can also export it like that to Power BI template. And lastly, if you are trying to show people that you use the parameter, when you click on this, you can easily export again. When you click on this, you can export again. That's what I did with my own. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate you for sticking with me to the end. And I just want you to subscribe to my channel, drop a comment, and stay with me to see more videos. Let us learn together and get better at our skills together. Bye.